Hi, I am Patrick van der Meer, Visualcoach, and this is Azure Websites 101. Alright, so in the previous video we have added an area for the admin called backend, just over here. You can see it, backend, and in there's some controllers, models and views. Actually, we just had an admin controller in there with an empty index. So in the views we have an index which is actually completely empty. No, it is not. Why not? Because I already have done some tinkering. Alright, now the first tinkering I was doing, I was realizing that if you make any big mistakes, you might consider deleting the migration folders with the migrations that you did and the configuration file what's in there, and then deleting the database table as well, because you have the migration history is being connected to that. So if you do that, if you ever decide to do that because you make too many mistakes and you can't figure out what you've done, then besides that it's painful, you will also lose all the configuration that you did in this part of the configuration file. Remember, we had a code written here that seeded an admin and roles. So I took that out and I put it on a safe spot. I made a file, seed users, and I did that in the DAL folder, seed users. And there's a method in there, seed admin and role, that needs the database application database context. That's this. So how does it look? It is a static file. So just make a class. You just go in here and say add, and then say class, and then of course give it the name seed, and then of course the rest of the name. Click add. You get this file. Name it. Get it. Make a static. Create this method, static method. Give it a name, different name, doesn't matter. And then this is all the code that we already wrote in a previous video, and is being pasted in here, so that you only have to say to the configuration file, hey, in the seed override seed protected override void seed method, you only have to call that static class, and then it will seed the database with an admin user and roles. Then that was a long talk for something which was actually quite simple. Good, forget about it. You could even ignore all of this and just continue. Okay, so what else? What else? So we wanted to do some seeding of, no, not seeding. We wanted to see the users so we can actually play with the roles that they have, because now we have a controller which was limited for people in the admin role only. All right, so the index method that was in here, which was completely empty, I have added some code in there, and in preparation of that code, I will show it again. Don't worry, no worries. You know what? I'll leave it like this for a second. So this, before you can do this, you need a couple of things. This code is just the same code as we had in the seed method, so you can copy and paste it in. Then you need a user detail DTO. Right, that is in this model class over here. I made two classes, users detail DTO, and the only thing in here is this. Actually, you could leave the message out if you like. Well, for now I'll just leave it. Comes in handy later. I made a connection to the other class that I made, the role detail DTO. I made a list, and in the constructor, so that's the CTO, right? CTOR, and tab, and you get a constructor. In that constructor, you cannot have two, well, not with the same same arguments. You say that the roles is an empty list of roles, and the message is an empty string. This is just making sure that this roles is never showing up as null, but in worst case scenario it has no members, so it has a count of 0. Good. So that's 2 classes that we need. This is the one class, and the other class, role details DTO, has even less information. This has a key, accessing of the user's email, and it has a bool to tell if a role, the name of a role, if a role is being given to this person, to this email address or not. Right. So having that, you can just get a list of all the users from the users manager. So all users, and you create an empty list of users details, and then you say, well, if the list of users is not null, then for each of the users that are in there, create a user detail DTO out of the user, this user data. So there's only 3 things in there: a phone number, a user's name, and an email. And yes, there will be an empty string for the message, and there will be an empty bunch of roles. All right. So add that to this list with the illustrative name red or for return, and then in the view return it. Now, since your HTML file, CS HTML file, is now empty, just reconstruct it by going in here, say to index, right mouse click, add a view, and then simply, you might need to save your stuff first before you do that, and then go in here and say, you gave me a list based on the user DTO, and leave the data context empty, very important, and then of course the layout page, add. If I do that now, it will say, hey, you already have one, override it. Yes, override it. Yours is empty, so override it. I won't do it. So then you will get the file in the views like this, and since the message is empty, we can leave that out. And since the message is empty, we can leave it out, as I said, not only as a header, but also over here. We have a name and a phone number. And we have this over here. Actually, for now, we're not going to use that. We're going to get the edit out and the delete out. You don't want to make mistakes, right? And you know what? Just for the fun of it, let's do some bootstrap in there. Let's say that the new class is a button. Yay, button. Nice button. Primary. You know what? Let's do it. Give it a warning color. Warning. You can do any color, of course. And I'll make it a small button. I don't want to have big buttons. Button. SM, and I give it also a spacing M1. So nice, we have a button over here. Yay. And the other thing is that we're not creating users. So in those automatic created pages, there's always the word indexed over here, and then there is this action link to create a new one. We're not going to create new users. They have to simply subscribe to the website. So that's it. So do we need some extra spacing for here? Yeah, we might actually want that. Let's just do something like a just an empty paragraph, and we put a space in there, and that's it. So we have a little bit from the head down to the table, a little bit spacing. Right. Did we forget anything? No, this is it. Let's just play with this. For your information, I already have 2 extra users in here because otherwise you can only see yourself. and that's the joeadmin.com that we made in the sheet information. So if mine shows up with more users, because I'm so smart. Right. I'll tell you what. Let's start with a new user. Let's just, since you don't have any user, so you can just add a user. There's no check on it now. I have made a Jimmy, which is the brother of Joe, the admin. And you know what? He has a completely family, and his sister is actually they gave her a funny name, Sammy, Sam, Samantha, Sam. What is called Sam? And Sam needs a password, and there's of course rules for the password. So make sure that this is a normal password. And let's register Sam. All right, Sam is there. So log off Sam, and I'll log in as Joe. Joe the admin. Joe the admin. With this, oh Joe. Hey Joe. Log in Joe, the admin, and go to the admin pages in the backend. And now you see that Joe has a list of users and a nice orange button, the orange button that he now presses. It goes nowhere. We didn't make that page yet, so that's something for the next video, because with the details we want to see in which roles that person is, and then at the same time we're gonna also make it possible to edit those roles. So you can put something in or get somebody out of a role. See you in the next video. Continue to the next video in this series right there, or get the whole playlist right there. And of course, don't forget to subscribe just here. Subscribe.